It's Monday morning and I'm Stuart and you're watching SIRENNET Television. We're going to take a look at a part from STAR, SVP. It is the ULB9 and Chris is going to disassemble it and check it out. Let's go right over to Studio 2 and find out what happens.
Well, thanks Stuart for the nice introduction. I have here STAR's world famous ULB9 Mini Phantom. It's the unit that features the 5mm or first generation diodes. You can see there's quite a plethora of them here in the front shroud. Two sides. All the diodes are soldered in with connection boards between them. And I'm going to give you a look behind the diode board here inside the shroud. It's a simple process to remove the front diode set here. Just two Phillips head screws that hold black tabs on both sides. So I'll go ahead and remove those. So free up the black tabs as well, again from both sides. What's nice with the tabs here is you can see there's little feet on the bottom and they're also rounded. So when you go to put them back in, there's only one way to do it. So the inside diode board here, go ahead, slide out from the housing. You see on the back of it here, if we can have the camera zoom in, several wires soldered in to the rear of the board. Again, on the back here, you can see basically, again, zooming in, there's two connection points. Quite a huge variety of them all the way across it. And each of those two connection points is actually for the independent LED diode here and connecting it into the main board so they all can power up and flash together. I'll go ahead and pull this over a little bit. So again, if we can zoom in, inside the shroud here, you can see that there is a small processor board. The processor board inside has been epoxied into the shroud here, and that contains the unit's basically control abilities. Different flash patterns, the ability to have the diodes going back and forth and alternating or simultaneous altogether. So a lot of little fancy electronics built into this little board right here. Again, wiring going across the inside of the shroud, connected from STAR SVP's assembly line and the hard workers there, tied in to the rear wiring harness with the locking in cap for the harness. That way, you never have to worry about it pulling out of the housing. We'll go ahead, put this back together here quickly, put the diode board back in. Realign the tab for the side here. Again, other tab for the other side to lock it in as well. And the tabs lock in nice and firmly. Let's keep this properly affixed into the housing. So go ahead, I'll tighten down the side here. Nice and snug. Again, you can see it's nice and flush with the housing here. Same thing with the other side. And again, tighten the screw. Now that that's reassembled, you've noticed also probably as I've been taking this apart, putting it back together, I have been touching the diode assemblies in here. The diodes themselves are okay to touch with your fingers. So if being on the inside of your car, if it gets dusty, a little bit of dirt from time to time, if you're a hard worker, DOT, dust blowing in, search and rescue out in the dunes, again, you'll have sand blowing. that'll be okay for it. Again, you can just blow it out when you clean out the inside of your car. But you do not want to get these moist. Moisture does not work well with the Mini Phantom. In fact, it can actually cause the unit to have problems and stop working entirely, thus with it being an interior warning light. So, put it back together. Best part, again, always plugging it in. So I'll go ahead, take the 12-volt connection, plug it in. All the diodes seem to be flashing nice and brightly. Again, a green unit here, popular for search and rescue, volunteers, and well as command for fire. Change some patterns here quickly. And for those of you that are curious, the ULB9 Mini Phantom does offer over 24 different flash patterns, so there's quite a variety to choose from. Some nice features on the plug-in here are an incorporated on-off switch with a red indicator, as well as a momentary switch, spring-loaded, for changing patterns. So when the unit's on, momentarily click this, and it'll advance the flash pattern for you. Also, in the end cap here, if you untwist this portion, you then can gain access to the internal fuse. So if for some odd reason your Mini Phantom was working fine yesterday, isn't working okay today, make sure to take the end cap off and check your fuse. Simple process, slide it back in, and retighten the end. Thanks for spending some time with me here on SIRENNET Television. I'm Chris. Back to you, Stuart.
Well, thanks, Chris. Really appreciate that. I'm Stuart, and as always, thanks for watching SIRENNET Television.